2023 studios are back, but just a quick one here. Are you one of those who are saying right now that, well, elections are not taking place in the FCT, and so it's a kind of a breather? Or do you belong to the other group that says we might have done one or two things so that change the status of the FCT, have a mayoral status for the FCT so that elections can hold into local councils? What do you say? All right, so we'd like to welcome you to the Verdict 2023 NTA Studios, and this one is a little bit different from what we started off some 2 weeks ago, and this is because now action has shifted to the state level, the sub-national level, and this is where the action is at this point. Well, in keeping with the promises earlier made to you, the NTA Verdict 2023 Studios back, and we're going to take you through the full gamut of everything. So, welcome.
Francis Udejo reports that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in Kogi State has confirmed the delivery of sensitive materials to the 21 local government areas in Kogi State ahead of the Saturday State Assembly election in the state.
Now that this election was shifted from the 11th to the 18th, we are able to complete and conclude our negotiation with the transporters, and we've only got very little materials to distribute today so that people can go in good time to be able to buy these things and then get to their destinations and be ready to start early morning on Saturday.
And Ifoma Ndu Okoli reports that the representatives of political parties were on ground to monitor the distribution of both sensitive and non-sensitive election materials by the Independent National Electoral Commission to the 17 local government areas of Abia State.
The logistic challenges that we have that fortnight ago is not going to experience itself. We are seeking for adequate collaboration with the NATO and NURTW.
From Gombe, Abbas Mekano reports that all is set for Saturday's governorship and state assembly election in the state, with the distribution of sensitive and non-sensitive materials to local government areas of the state.
Well, the preparations so far, there is no much problem. We are on top of all the situations, in fact. So as you can see, even before we came here, we had meeting with all the gubernatorial aspirants with their chairman to talk to them about the security situation and then how to make the state and the election successful.
Things have been going very well with INEC. They have invited all the political parties here, and all the materials have been distributed accordingly.
From Abakaliki, the Ebonyi state capital, Chinaza John reports that the Independent National Electoral Commission says it has taken steps to correct the lapses experienced in the presidential and National Assembly elections in the state. The resident electoral commissioner, Mrs. Pauline Onyeka, stated this while monitoring the distribution of sensitive materials to the 13 local government areas of the state.
I am giving you every assurance that what happened that time happened as a result of where some areas where they reported that the rank centers are vulnerable. So that made them to take off from the local government area. But this time around, we have taken care of everything.
So far, so good. I wish that what has transpired here this morning is what is going to transpire across all the polling units in Ebonyi State.
And from Enugu, Comfort Anyim reports that the Independent National Electoral Commission has also delivered sensitive and non-sensitive materials in the 17 local government areas of the state in the presence of party agents.
We are loading all the sensitive material to go to all the 17 local governments in Enugu State. You see where we bring it at the south and south
So you check the serial number, everything is intact. So when you go to local government, you check whether what you have here is not what you have in the local government. That's why I say nothing to hide out.
Francis from NTA News.
All right. That was a compilation of the distribution of materials across the country by the Independent National Electoral Commission. That report was put together by Francis Form. We started off telling you that this is the NTA Verdict 2023 studios, and we're bringing you a full broadcast on what is expected to happen across 28 states of the Federation tomorrow. That's with regard to the governorship election. Of course, the state assembly elections are going to be going on as scheduled. Well, as part of our broadcasts, we shall join our correspondents in various states of the Federation and link up with our zonal centers for studio analysis. Here in Abuja, we shall assemble an array of election experts and political affairs analysts. These will x-ray events as they unfold from various parts of the country. Well, on this segment, I joined by some of our guests. I'd like to introduce them. Let me start with Nick Dazang, a former Director of Voter Education and Publicity, INEC. Nick, good to see you again.
Thank you very much.
Right, there you are. And we're also joined from the security sector, AIG Bala Chiroma. He is Assistant Inspector General Operations at the Force Headquarters. Thanks for being with us here.
Good evening and thank you very much.
All right. We do expect that we'll also be joined by Dr. Rav Zakariaou of the Political Science Department of the Nigeria Police Academy, Wudil, in Kano. He should be joining us from our Kano studio at some point in time. But back here in Abuja, there's so much to talk about. The day has finally arrived. Recall that there was a postponement. We all know the reasons beyond, for that postponement. But the important thing is tomorrow, Saturday, the states will go to the polls. Governorship and, of course, the state assemblies. Now, for the governorship, it's 28 states, as we said. The others are those that fall in what has generally now come to be known as the off-cycle elections. In those places, we wouldn't be having the governorship elections. Those states are Anambra, Bayelsa, Edo, Ekiti, Imo, Kogi, Ondo, Osun. Those are the states that will not have the governorship elections. But elections will hold in 993 state assembly constituencies. That's in addition to the 28 states who will be voting for the governors of the state. So let me turn to our guest here. Nick, let's begin with you. And this is a day that has come to put a conclusion on what started on the 25th. What are your thoughts here?
Well, my thoughts are that these elections are as crucial as the ones that took place on Saturday, 25th February 2023. Even though the presidency and the National Assembly are the attraction and signature of stakeholders, because of the presidency's capacity to repurpose the country and to reset it. But the elections that are going to be conducted tomorrow across 28 states and 993 House of Assembly seats are crucial in the sense that these are seats that are proximate or very close to our people. They have the potential of making or marring the fortunes of our people who live in the states. And if you look at the quantum of seats that are up for grabs, you are looking at 1,201 seats, that is 28 governorship seats, plus 993 seats. When you subtract the number of seats that were contested earlier on, you will discover that the seats that were contested on 25th February were 469 seats as against 1,201. So these particular elections are very crucial, and they hold the potential for the Commission particularly to redeem itself from some of the challenges that afflicted the conduct of the first set of elections. We know that there were certain challenges that were beyond its control, such as the cash crunch, the fuel scarcity, and so on. But the upload of the polling unit results were within its purview. So were also the deployment of the BVAS, that is the bimodal voter accreditation system. And we have also seen that arising from the conduct of those elections, Nigerians felt disappointed. They felt that INEC promised a lot and delivered little. And so many stakeholders were hurting, members of civil society, members of the media, and so on. And the postponement has also helped, tremendously to get INEC to hone its processes, to perfect its processes, and to improve on its logistics. As we've seen from the clips that you've shown, most of the materials, particularly sensitive materials, had arrived in local governments two days ago. In fact, as at 2 days ago, not less than 26 states had received the sensitive materials at the level of the local government areas. So today we expect that in the 1,099 super racks across the country, we have 8,809 votes, and we have 1,099 super racks. Now minus 3 super racks in the FCT, because elections will not hold in the FCT, we now have 1,093 super racks. Now the INEC officials and security agencies will come in these super racks today, and then in the small hours of tomorrow morning, they will take off from these super racks to the polling units. It is instructive. You mentioned states that have now become what we call noted for off-season or off-cycle elections.
All right. So
you forgot. You also mentioned the FCT as if elections are not being held. Elections actually held in the FCT on Saturday, 12 February last year.
Right, so they are not due for any elections now. Right, so
elections.
it falls among the states where the FCT, of course, is like a state that is not a state. All right, but we'll return to that. And we promise we'll bring you reports from across the country, and we're going to go straight to that now. We have the very first update on the situation coming from Lagos. Let's link up with Kehinde Adebisi in Lagos. Kehinde.
Very much, Cyril. I'm at Commercial Avenue in Yaba area of Lagos, and I can tell you that Lagosians are ready to exercise their franchise to vote in their chosen candidate in the governorship and State House of Assembly elections tomorrow. Despite the fact that the election was postponed, people are still not deterred. They are determined to come out and exercise their franchise. While being here, I'd had discussions with a group of people, and I have Mrs. Ade Nero here with me. She would tell us how prepared she is to this election. Hello, madam.
Hello. Good evening.
All right. The election is tomorrow. It's just a few hours from now.
Okay.
How prepared are you for this election?
To the glory of God, we are well prepared. As you can see that for postponement of the election, though it affects a lot of things, but we thank God now that the date is already at hand. That by the grace of God, everything will go out well, and we pray that the election will be peaceful. There will not be any trouble anywhere. God will take control. We pray that the best candidates will emerge in all the gubernatorial election and the state assembly, and we are hopeful that by the time the announcement of the winner will be announced, there will not be trouble anywhere. The parties will not cause any chaos anywhere. People will be able to move around to their various places of work and everywhere they want to go. We pray that God will take control of all this in the name of Jesus.
All right, ma'am. So will you be voting in tomorrow's election?
By the grace of God. I am a citizen of Nigeria, so I'm going to vote by the grace of, I vote for my candidates for the conscience of my choice.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, Mrs. Adeniro was talking about a peaceful outcome of the election, and the Lagos State Commissioner of Police has been assuring Lagosians that there is no need to fear, that everyone can come out and vote tomorrow for their chosen candidate. Contrary to opinions around that there's tension in Lagos State, I can tell you that the whole city is peaceful. You can see that people are moving around, they're going about their business. Unlike the presidential election where, as at this time, the whole street was deserted, we still see people moving around, banks are opened, and people are going to withdraw money and getting ready for the election tomorrow. And for INEC is also prepared for this election as well. Earlier in the morning, we went to some local government centers in the state, and we see that the sensitive materials are being moved to other local governments as well, and these materials will be used tomorrow at the polling unit. INEC has also assured that the delays experienced during the last election would not come up again this time around, as they are working round the clock to ensure that they do not have any logistics problem. And for the ad hoc staff too as well, they've assured them of their security. Back to you, Cyril.
Thank you, Kennedy Adebisi in Lagos. Thanks. I'm sure that Lagosians would really welcome the reassurances by the security agencies that Lagos is calm and things will go on peacefully. And of course, typically of Nigerians who are seen as prayerful people, you heard the respondent there praying that everything will be just fine. But speaking about the security of the space, we introduced AIG Balachiroma earlier on, and he will just give us his opening comments on how reassured the people across the state should be that these elections would be peaceful.
Well, our performance as security agencies during the last presidential elections of the 12th of this month was quite good. We intend to improve on that, and that is why we've done a review of the strategies we adopted, and where we had shortcomings, we are strengthening such areas to ensure that there is an improvement from that of the presidential election. A lot of people are talking about tension in different states, and we're assuring people that we've done our threat analysis as security agencies, and we're putting adequate deployment to ensure that Nigerians exercise their franchise without any threat or hindrance.
Well, the other bit, of course, which the IGP emphasized was about security agencies and those who are posted as security aides to VIPs and other personalities who would be going to the polling stations should not accompany them. And Nigerians always want they always want that reiterated, so that on election day, everyone is, at par.
Yes, the IG was very emphatic on that. All security agents attached to personalities would ensure that they avoid polling stations. And not only the utterance, he has already put a machinery in place to ensure that instructions are complied with. I will tell you confidently that all geopolitical zones are being headed by Deputy Inspectors Generals of Police. All senatorial districts, as per our division, INEX division, are being manned by commissioners of police, where we don't have commissioners, we have deputy commissioners of police. Therefore, we are seeing a more stricter regime of supervision during these polls.
So, people across the country can be assured that given the performance on the 25th, there will be a replication, and the polls can go on. But Nick, again, throughout the period, these questions were raised over and over again about how prepared INEC is, and of course, assurances and reassurances from INEC that they said that all those things, all the lapses that were noticed on the 25th have been taken care of, and particularly the matter of uploading of results, because Nigerians have now cottoned on to the fact that this can happen real time. So you're optimistic that tomorrow's elections would be an improvement on what we saw on the 25th, aren't you?
Yes, we should expect that because INEC itself felt chastened by what happened. You know, you could see from its body language, from its courage, from its comportment, that it regretted what happened. Because, come to think of it, INEC would have loved to, you know, improve on the conduct of those elections. They would have loved to raise the bar beyond how it had conducted previous elections. Don't forget that before the conduct of the last elections, it had conducted off-cycle governorship elections in Ekiti, Osun, Ondo, and Edo. And the IRF, the INEC Results Viewing Portal, you know, was deployed, and it gave a lot of credibility to the conduct of those elections. And its determination was to ensure that that kind of success that it registered in those elections were also registered, you know, and achieved at that election. Unfortunately, it didn't come to pass, as a result of which it had to go back to the drawing board, address the glitches that, you know, occurred during the conduct of those elections, and they took their time to also reconfigure, you know, the BVAS, the bimodal voter accreditation system devices. The idea is to evacuate the BVAS of the data, you know, that were embedded, you know, in them,
so and
keep them, yes, so that they are free. You free them, and then you make them constituency or polling unit specific.
Okay. All right, we'll head off to Port Harcourt now and also get a situation report. Let's join our correspondent in Port Harcourt.
The countdown to the governorship and state houses of assembly election is finally on, and everyone is eagerly awaiting Saturday, the 18th of March. Incidentally, it's barely a few hours from now, you know, to go out and perform their own franchise. The 23 local government areas across River State has been very busy. INEC has also been very busy. As at yesterday, the sensitive materials had been distributed and moved to the local government areas, to the racks. And from there, by tomorrow morning, it is expected that the materials will move to the 6,866 polling units across the state. And that's where we are. Also, security agencies have been doing their best. You already know the turnout we had during the presidential election. Very impressive. And this time around, security agencies in Rivers State said they are ready to surpass the outcome of last 2 weeks of the presidential and the National Assembly elections in Rivers State. And so they went all out within the week to prove to the people that, look, we're here and ready to ensure that you come out safe to perform your franchise. There was a show of force just yesterday, and one of our correspondents, Diba Barise Domanweke, was there. Let's now see what she brought back.
The convoy of the security operatives comprising the Nigerian Army, Nigerian Police Force, NSCDC, NDLEA, and immigrations moved from the 6th Division Nigerian Army to various parts of Port Harcourt. The aim is to register their readiness to ensure adequate protection of citizens and boost confidence of voters as they participate in the governorship and state houses of assembly elections. Garrison Commander 6th Division Nigerian Army, Suleiman Tilawan, says the army is ready to deal with any security challenge. He urges residents to participate in the voting process without fear and appeals to all to conduct themselves in an acceptable manner.
seeing you today, I'm most assured that on Saturday, we are even going to have a better outing. There will be a peaceful election within Rivers State. And as men of the security agencies, we will operate according to our rules of engagement, which you all know about, and our code of conduct for the 2023 election.
He also charges the troops to remain alert while carrying out their assigned tasks, stressing that with the measures put in place, the elections will be peaceful in the state. In Port Harcourt, Dibabari Sidumaweke, NTA News.
Thank you very much, Diba. We have here in the studio one of the leaders of the security agencies that participated in that show of force, and that is the Commander, NSCDC Rivers State, Mr. Michael Oga. Sir, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
I also have in the studio Pius Duka, President, Pius Duka Foundation. He will be participating in this conversation. Sir, thanks for joining us.
Nice to have me here today.
Yeah. Okay, so let me start with you, and let's try to look at what happened during the presidential elections. We also saw you out there, and this time around, you're proving to Rivers State indigenes that, look, we're on ground to take care of you. How would you rate your performance in the last elections as compared to what we'll be having this time around?
Well, our performance in the presidential and the National Assembly election was good because we didn't do it alone. We had a joint operation with Nigerian with sister agencies in providing the security. We went about, we deployed our men towards the 23 local government areas of Rivers State. We also deploy additional gunboats. We had gunboats also in the creeks. We also had men that are on plain clothes. So we work as a team with other agencies and we're able to provide adequate security. And I assure you that the one of tomorrow, the one of governorship and the State House of Assembly shall be better because we've learned some lessons in the last one, the one of the presidential election.
Okay, we also have information that you have increased the number of men that you'll be sending out tomorrow.
Yeah, we did that. In the presidential election, we deployed 5,525, but the one of the governorship, we increased it to 6,000, and also we had men that are going to be on plain clothes. We withdrew men from some locations that were operating, that were folded up. We had men who works in some provide security for oil companies, so the contract lapsed, so we had additional men to support in tomorrow's deployment.
Okay. So I'm sure that you followed the events of the presidential and the National Assembly elections in the state. You were one of the monitors who went around to see what went on. Are you excited about the governorship elections coming up tomorrow?
Yeah, very, very, very sure, because I think that this is the government that is closer to the people, especially having going to the ballot to now elect somebody that will stay there for 4 years. 4 years is not the main thing, and also assembly members that will better the life of people. So I think that irrespective of some of the hiccups that happened within that last time, this will be better. However, I want to commend INEC in the first place of releasing the materials on time, because last time some of the units, they did not have their materials very early. And now a lot of materials have been coming at a proper time. And then the instruction by the IGP saying that the very well-to-do politicians, they will not have escort, is very important. But not only that they will remove the police from them or the security from them, but is that they should not be allowed to enter the collation centers, because that is some of the things we see at the observations. Because if results are being turned out from the units and reaching at the local government centers, the manipulation happened there. I think that would not be best bet for what we want to do now, because election is a best way to now look at the ways to bring in new blood. And you know that this is just a brand new one, and anybody that is coming in is going to take another 4 years. So what are the people coming to do is to elect their leaders, and they will do the election either by affirming that what have been going on have been good for them, or bringing new leaders for the fact that they want maybe positive change or a change from the status quo. So those are the things that I think, and we are also employing them to come out even more larger, because apart from the registered vote, we also look at the calculation that not all who actually collected the PVC or not all the eligible voters actually come out to vote. And there was a shortfall, so we want them to increase the number, and also looking at the place where there will be no vote buying of any kind, either material eating of rice or using wrapper to induce people, and then there should be level playing ground for everybody.
Okay, now that you've taken us to that angle, about 2 days ago we were there when the sensitive materials were distributed at the CBN by the INEC, and the REC made a very important statement that he said voters must make sure that the results of the elections at their polling units are uploaded. What role do you think the voters themselves can play in this? How possible is that?
Yes, apart from the voters making their vote to count, to be very candid, at the point of the calculation and counting, they also have the party representatives, the accredited persons, because if you allow every voter, it will be clumsy. So I don't think or buy the idea that every voter will come in there and protect your vote at that material time. You have a party and you have somebody who represents you. So the voter will look at the possibilities of ordering themselves on the line. When you are accredited, you vote and stay somewhere within the region, within the zone of where it's going to be conducted, but not that you come to the table and make it, because that time I watched it, everybody was prognosing and trying to even look at whether a vote is void or not.
It's all right. We'll come back to you, sir. We'll come to you. But first, let's take a look at the package by Nkiru Onyejisi on the expectations from voters.
The presidential and National Assembly elections may have come and gone, but not without some pockets of challenges. This range from difficulty in uploading results to the server to malfunctioning beavers and capturing issues. Nigerians are calling on the electoral umpire INEC to correct the mistakes of the February 25th election.
The citizens of Emoho are going to come out to vote because we believe that one day Nigeria will get better. But we also believe that we cannot do it alone except the INEC, which is in charge, to cooperate with us by giving us an evidence that will prove that indeed Nigeria will develop one day or our vote is going to count.
By the grace of God, I will join other well-meaning Nigerians in bringing in a good government.
Few hours to the governorship and state houses of assembly election. Some residents of Port Harcourt say they are willing and eager to go out to vote their choice candidates. Others are, however, skeptical.
I'm very much prepared to vote because definitely it's our right and we desire a change.
Not be to vote be the problem. All the promise where they make, when we vote finish, now going to carry and throw inside gutter. Masses go to suffer, they go to enjoy with their family. We don't want that type.
Regardless of the challenges experienced in the February 25th election, INEC has promised to conduct a free and fair election come March 18th. In Port Harcourt, Nkiru Onyejisi, NTA News.
Certainly, the message is clear to those. Certainly, the message is clear to those seeking political offices here, as elections will be holding tomorrow. And with that report, we'll wrap up our contribution from Port Harcourt. We want to thank you so very much, Commandant, for being here with us. And Mr. Pius, thank you so very much for joining us in the studio. We hope we'll have you some other time. He's now back to Cyril in Abuja for continuation of Verdict 2023.
Right, thank you very much. And straight away, we'll go over to Maiduguri and link up with Abubakar Musa, who's on location. He's going to bring us up to speed on what's happening. Hello.
Thank you very much, Cyril. As I'm talking to you right now, I'm in one of the registration area centers in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. And even before I drove to this place, I can categorically tell you that the major streets in Maiduguri were deserted. A lot of electorates have traveled out to, various local governments across the state to exercise their franchise ahead of the governorship and state assembly elections scheduled to hold tomorrow, Saturday. And then while we were going around, the centers within Maiduguri Metropolis, we were lucky to stumble across the resident electoral commissioner in charge of Borno State. That's talking about the resident electoral commissioner of INEC for Borno State, Mohammed Magaji Ibrahim. And he's going to tell us more about the level of preparations of INEC with regards, the elections. So, sir, what more can you tell us with regards to your preparations for tomorrow's elections?
Well, of course, we are well prepared. And you can see right away we are at the RAC centers, one of the RAC centers, in fact, the biggest RAC center in Borno, that is my Sandari. They are operating at the WTC Women Training College in Maiduguri, and all these non-sensitive items are here. We are waiting for the sensitive items coming from the headquarters of MMC. So we are good to go. Our preparation is all right. We have no issues at all at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So how about the issue of security? What more can you tell us in relation to
security? Is superb. We don't have issue of internal security at all. And you can see around we have a lot of security men and taking care of our materials and even the ad hoc staff.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Cyril, one aspect I think I should note here is that even before our interview with the resident electoral commissioner was that we met some ad hoc staff of INEC, sorting out some non-sensitive materials inside this classroom behind me.
The resident electoral commissioner still with you right there. I wonder if he is, or has he left where you are? Is he still there with you?
He's still with me.
Question for the resident electoral commissioner, and that's talking about the ad hoc staff. One of the issues that was noticed during the presidential election was that some ad hoc staff were not very conversant with the beavers, and so it was expected that INEC would have taken care of all that and retrained them. Could you find out from the resident electoral commissioner if that has been done and all the staff are, on top of the situation now?
Okay, sir, this question is directly for you. In the previous election, or the last election, so to say, some of the ad hoc staff were not very familiar with, this beavers. So what's the situation going to be this time around?
In fact, we have taken cognizance of what transpired during the presidential elections. And of course, we embarked on training, refresher training. At least we have trained the ad hoc staff twice. And today, the last training is coming up at the RAC centers. At least we are in one of the RAC centers. They will undergo another training, the final training before they go to their polling units. So we have no problem with that. Our RAC techs also are trained again, so that we don't anticipate any problem at all as far as the failure of the beavers machine or its operations.
Okay, Cyril, what more do you want to hear before he finally takes his leave?
Thank you so much. I guess that's one of the things that will be on the minds of many voters, just to be certain that the beavers will work very well. And it's a sentiment that has been expressed all over the country, not just Borno. But good to know that things would be much different from what they are. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Abubakar Musa in Maiduguri. Well, again, we can never get enough of the assurances, and you would understand why people raise concerns about, yes, the functions of the BVAS machines, those who operate them, and on the other aspects too, the question of security, and to be certain that breaches will be promptly dealt with. But some parts of the country, unfortunately, have witnessed some heightened violence, and many people are looking to the security agencies to be able to stem that down. For instance, parts of Kaduna State has witnessed renewed violence, and again, Nigerians would want to turn for reassurances from particularly the lead security agent, the police in this case.
Well, Cyril, that's true that we've recorded some cases of violence during the period between the last election and now. We've taken this into consideration, re-strategized, and specifically deployed to ensure that we take care of this situation. A lot of success has been recorded in respect of this. Arrests have been made, and situation is being contained. I once again seize this opportunity to notify or to inform members of the public that security agencies will do all they can, and we're doing all we can within our purview to ensure that we witness a peaceful election. In furtherance of this, we've engaging also, apart from our deployments, engaging stakeholders, the politicians themselves who need to rein in on their supporters, the voters themselves who need to conduct themselves properly at polling booths, and so on and so forth, to ensure that we record a free and fair elections come tomorrow.
All right. Thank you so much. Well, at this point, we're going to Samira Shira in Kano, who is going to give us an update. And Samira, I'm sure you can hear me at this point. Just give us an idea of your location in Kano and tell us what's going down at this point in time.
Okay, we are currently at Bata Roundabout in Sabongari, in Fage local government area of Kano State. As you know, Kano has a vast political landscape with over 5.9 million registered voters, according to statistics presented by INEC in the just concluded continuous voter registration exercise, coming second to Lagos State. Of course, as one of the most populous states in Nigeria, all eyes are on the political arena of Kano State for tomorrow's polls. And relevant stakeholders have been on top of their game ahead of preparations of tomorrow's gubernatorial and State House of Assembly elections. Well, for the State House of Assembly elections, it is expected to hold in 40 constituencies across Kano State. On the part of the Independent National Electoral Commission, they have commenced distribution of sensitive materials since Wednesday, the 15th of March 2023, which was rounded up yesterday afternoon. And according to our correspondent, Aminu Umar, who has been monitoring the exercise at the Central Bank of Nigeria in Kano Metropolis, he said in different interviews he conducted with different party agents, they are satisfied with the conduct of the exercise. Similarly, in terms of security, they have also been doing very well. A new commissioner of police has been redeployed to Kano State, and also an additional squadron has also been deployed to Kano State to complement the existing 2 squadrons. Anyway, Elizabeth Yilalamido has been monitoring the exercise. Elizabeth, what can you tell us about the level of preparedness of the security agencies?
Thank you very much. In terms of security, preparations are still on ground to ensure a smooth conduct of the elections. On Wednesday, the DIG supervising the Northwestern Zone, Hafiz Inua, arrived Kano, and as well as the CP, who is Hussein Muhammad Gumel, also came into Kano on Wednesday, and they've been having series of meetings with other sister security agencies. And earlier today, they had a show of force in the state where virtually all security agencies in the state took part in it. Talking about the customs, NDLEA, civil defense, correction services, as well as the police itself. And aside from that, we currently have 3 squadrons in Kano State for the election. That is on the side of the police alone, not talking about the additional assets and logistics that were being brought into town. And aside from that, there is a helicopter for air surveillance which was sent into Kano to ensure a smooth conduct of the elections, as well as intelligence units that will survey the activities happening in the state from the sky and then feed the information to the intelligence units on ground. So far, that's what we have from Kano.
And one thing I have also noticed is that people are going about their normal activities. This is one of the places that makes Kano a commercial nerve center. But as you can see, it looks like a normal Friday evening with people going about their normal activities in the ancient city of Kano. Unlike the last presidential and national assembly elections, there were a lot of panic buying, traffic congestion. And I think the good people of Kano are gradually learning politics without bitterness. All they are after is credible leaders for Kano State and Nigeria at large. I think that's what we can feed you for now. Thank you very much.
Samira, just before you go, I know that quite a number of people, Nigerians from across the country, not just those in Kano, would have been so interested in the situation in Kano because of earlier reports. It's a good thing that you've spoken about a new commissioner of police deployed to Kano, and also that there is additional reinforcements because in the build-up to this election, even the Kano State government raised concerns about an uncovered plot or an alleged plot to cause confusion and wreak mayhem on the people, which of course security agencies have responded to, with the DSS announcing that they had arrested at least 2 people who had planned to disrupt the public peace. So how are the citizens taking this? You just told us now that where you are, people are going around, their normal business. In other parts of Kano, what's the feeling like? And get further updates.
Hello?
Okay, it would seem you have some challenges with hearing us here, but it's okay. Thank you for the update. We'll return to you at some point in time and get further updates from you. Thank you. Well, these are the issues. Just like we're about to clarify from Samira there in Kano, the concerns that were raised by even the Kano State government about an alleged plot to disturb the public peace. And of course, many would be reassured by the prompt response of the security agencies and the fact that some 2 suspects are already in custody. I suppose many would be reassured by that, right?
Yeah, not only the 2 suspects are already in custody, as I said earlier on, that we're all witnesses that a suspect has already been taken to court for alleged violence, in fact, charged for homicide, and that case is already before the court. And there are other cases that are being investigated. And just as testified by Samira, and as I said earlier, we had done a review of what took place in the last election. We've done a review of the threat that we may face during these elections, and this has necessitated a review of our deployments. As evidence, in Kano we've sent in more squadrons, a squadron. We've changed the commissioner of police, and we've in fact deployed helicopter to assist in facilitating security there. Some other locations that required that we beef up security have actually been attended to. Hope We pray that we have a peaceful elections. Thank
All
you.
right. Well, it's a fine time to introduce other guests, Dr. Rauf Zakariaou of the Political Science Department, Nigeria Police Academy, Woodhill, who is in our Kano studio. Dr. Zakariaou, thanks for joining us on the Verdict 2023 studios. Thank you for being with us. Right. Okay. Yes. Yes. There you are with us there, Dr. Zakariaou. Well, Kano has a huge voting population, and all eyes will be on Kano State, especially at this level, that it's what might be referred to as the local election here to select the governor and members of the State Assembly. What can you tell us about the situation? All right, Dr. Zakariaou, thanks for joining us. I was just saying that given the huge population of Kano, the number of registered voters, we're likely to see many more trooping out. And Kano is always of interest to a lot of people. First, because of the population. Secondly, the fact that Kano is also a hotbed for politics. What do you see? Wow. Trooping out, and Kano is always of interest to a lot of people. First, because of the population. Secondly, the fact that Kano is also a hotbed for politics. What do you see? Wow. Trooping out, and
as you have said earlier, has 44 local governments with huge populations. That tells you that it's one of the states that will be of interest to most stakeholders, particularly regarding the elections. But the scenario here is quite going to be different. Unlike the last general election, last National Assembly and presidential elections, whereby we're having, contestations among different personalities belonging to different regions. But in this scenario, it is a local politics within the Kanawa. That tells you that the election is going to be keenly contested on the basis of the fact that the issue of ethnicity, religion might not have role to play in this kind of election. But it has to do with the personality, the track record, and some other factors that will have as well enhanced electoral process in Nigeria. But within the Kano state itself, it's going to be an election whereby the electorate will definitely, toe the line of candidates they feel as what it can actually deliver for the society, based on the fact that they are going to look at the track records among the participants, among the contestants, and it's going to be a politics of, whereby political affiliation, because in Kano, when you look at the last elections, you could see that the contest has been between two major political parties in Kano now. That is the NNPP and that of APC. So in this time around, it's going to be an interesting ball game because of the fact that those two contestants, particularly from APC and NNPP, they happen to be not only the son of the soil, but they have been known within the Kano metropole, and they are all political stakeholders that, people might be surprised this time around that when you look at the formation, let me give you an instance. We have the outgoing governor, Ganduje, having a candidate, he wants to be, replaced by his deputy governor. And we have one of the presidential aspirants in person of Alhaji Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, having another candidate from his own political parties. And don't forget, during the last 2019 gubernatorial elections in Kano, it was keenly contested, to the extent that both candidates got over 1 million votes. In fact, the election had to witness what we call rerun, inconclusive. So the inconclusive of the last elections might not actually surface this time around because of the fact that the level of consciousness is becoming more higher, and people feel that let them come out, vote for the candidate of their choices, And at the long run, we're going to see a kind of dynamics or a kind of paradigm shift in what we normally see, what we normally observe as far as Kano politics is concerned. But it's going to be interested in the sense that it's going to be a keenly contested election, and the people of Kano, I think this time around, they have been able, to improve when it comes to their level of political culture. It's a political situation whereby people feel that once things are done transparently, the level of credibility is transparent to them, and they are assured by the INEC that there will be a level playing ground. There might not be cause for alarm. Fine, the security apparatus are there. Fine, other agencies, they have been brought on board to ensure that there will be a kind of free contest. But I can assure you that the Kanawa, once they realize that things are done based on the rules and regulations of the game, all of them will definitely accept whatever the outcome of the exercise. But be that as it may, the Kanawa, they are very ready, eager to vote, and I'm sure it's going to be a peaceful contest, and we hope, based on the assurance from INEC and the supporting bodies, like the security agency we have heard from the AIG in the studio there, and some other reports that you have gathered so far, it's going to be an election that will be very, very interesting, and whatever be the outcome of the exercise, we hope the Kanawa will accept it based on the fact that if the transparency and accountability follow suit.
Very much, Dr. Zakaria. We'll return to you in a moment, but at this point we'll go over to Enugu, link up with Susan Eze. Susan Eze is in Enugu and will update us on the situation there. If we can just see Susan Eze at this point in Enugu. Yes, Susan, there you are. Give us an idea of your location and what's on ground.
One of the ancient locations in Enugu, and right here at Bodman or Hafia by 6th Avenue, the oldest part of the city. And then I can tell you that in and around Enugu, the city is cool, calm, and collected as always. The situation is that people are actually prepared. As quiet as it sounds, but people are prepared to come out tomorrow to exercise their franchise. They are prepared to choose who takes over the Lion Building on May this year. From all fronts, preparations are going on. From the side of INEC, as I speak, there's a training going on for the ad hoc staff that will work tomorrow, to keep them abreast of what is expected of them when they go to the field tomorrow. And even yesterday, election materials were distributed to the 17 local government areas in the state. So INEC right now, INEC is prepared. Okay, INEC is prepared for tomorrow's election according to the rec who spoke to our correspondent this afternoon. On the part of the people, they too are also prepared. From permutations around town, you can see that people are eager to come out this time around, again like they did the other time. Maybe because the seats that are in contention this time are to fill the positions that are closest to the people at the grassroots, the governorship seat and the state assembly. The contestants are well known to the people. They have their affiliations, so people are ready to come to choose their own candidate for the positions. Until tomorrow, we'll now see how it goes.
Thanks so much, Susan. At least we were able to get a little bit of that. Yes, well, truly, she's in one part of Enugu state. She describes as an ancient part, but still heavy traffic around, and that, of course, was affecting the microphone, the sound from her microphone, and that's because people were going about their businesses. But it's a good thing she talked about a training going on even at this point in time. Nick, it would seem that, yes, many lessons have been learned, and no one would want to, the least would want to take chances with
the right thing to do always is to, take advantage of the super racks and the racks where they will come and still put them through the processes and how to use the device. It's like in the military or in the security services. After you've trained the individual, as he's going out, for an operation, you remind him again, of the rules of engagement and the mission. So it's the same template that ANEC uses. And normally, as they come, at the super acts, the EOs and the assistant EOs and the SPOs, that is the supervisory presiding officers, who are very knowledgeable about the conduct of election and election administration, are supposed to put them through again for the last time. Apart from what is happening now, we expect that in the small hours of morning, around 3, 4, as they wake up from sleep, they will put them through again. And they will also ask them if there are issues they don't understand. That is how it is supposed to be done. And also, if they have issues with locating their PUs, it is these electoral officers and their assistants who know these PUs like the back of their hands that can tell you where PUs are. Even though, you can locate all polling units now on Google. The Commission has mapped all the polling units and it's on Google. As soon as you search for it and you say you are looking for this polling unit, it will show you on Google where it is, the school where that polling unit is. I'm aware of that. I've done it myself. Even after I've left ANEC, I did that before the conduct of the election, and I located the polling unit in my village. So these are things that I expect young people who are graduates and are very familiar with Android devices, because the Beavers runs on Android. And I expected that where they had challenges the last time, all they needed to do, if you were allocated a polling unit and you had challenges, you now use you Google it, and then it will show you the location.
Okay.
So we expect that from INEC, and we have seen also that INEC, apart from what I observed, that they showed remorse, they also took certain disciplinary actions against their staff. Okay. A resident electoral commissioner in Sokoto was suspended. 1 or 2 resident electoral commissioners were sanctioned. 100 ad hoc staff were delisted in Akwa Ibom from the conduct of tomorrow's elections.
Okay, a resident electoral commissioner in Sokoto.
Yes, was suspended.
Okay, suspended. Well, speaking of Sokoto, let's get to the seat of the caliphate, where we have Usman Jibrila sitting in. Hello, Usman. What can you tell us from your end?
Hello, good evening, Cyril, and welcome to the verdict here in Sokoto Network Center. We are still, we couldn't have a guest to talk on the preparation for election tomorrow because the security agencies and the INEC are still holding meetings to have a successful outing tomorrow. But we have a report from our correspondent on the preparation for the election. And we'll take the first one, which read, Sokoto State Police Command has won against breach of peace during and after the governorship and state assembly elections. The newly posted Commissioner of Police in charge of the governorship election in Sokoto, Shetima Zanna, gave the warning at a meeting with head of security agencies, INEC officials, election observers, and politicians in Sokoto.
The meeting with the newly deployed Commissioner of Police, governorship candidate, and critical stakeholders is to ensure peaceful election in the state. Commissioner of Police Zanna said the police and other security agencies are set to ensure peaceful elections. Police will not hesitate to deal with anybody who tries to undermine peaceful atmosphere during and after the elections. He assured of police neutrality during and after the election. Sokoto State Chairman of All Progressive Congress Isa Sede Achida and that of People's Democratic Party Bella Ali Gwanyu, who responded on behalf of the stakeholders, pledged that everyone will work towards the success of the election.
My party, the APC, is ready and willing to give all the necessary support and cooperation to the police and other security agencies for us to have very peaceful, transparent, credible election, inshallah.
That we are committed to peaceful conduct of election. We are committed to that fact. We are very important elections.
In Sokoto, Usman Zubair, NT.
And on security preparations, over 7,000 security personnel have been deployed for the conduct of the governorship and state assembly elections in Sokoto State. Usman Zubairu again has a situation report.
The Commissioner of Police, Shatima Zanna, said the personnel deployed for governorship and state assembly include tactical commanders, divisional officers, and others from sister security agencies in the state. They are to provide security to 3,991 polling units in the state. The Commissioner said the security operatives are fully ready for the elections. On its part, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Sokoto State Command, said 1,200 personnel have been deployed for the exercise. State Commandant Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Bello Alkali Arungu, said the command is ready for the exercise.
We prefer quickly because there was a series of strategic planning series of meetings between ourselves and all the stakeholders.
In Sokoto, Usman Zubairu, NTA News.
And ahead of the governorship and state assembly elections, a new commissioner of police has been posted to Kebbi State for election duty. Abdul Muhammad Bawa has a report.
It is a fact that provision of adequate security of lives and properties remain one of the major means of conducting a free, fair, and credible election. In view of this, the newly deployed Commissioner of Police in Kebbi State on election duty, Abubakar Lawal, engaged all security personnel in the state with a view to ensuring professionalism in the discharge of their duties on election day.
This time around, the governorship and the assembly election that is more localized, we have to put more effort to see that we do the needful. All of us collectively will succeed.
A joint patrol of security outfit in the state also went around Birnin Kebbi Metropolis to demonstrate their level of preparedness before, during, and after the general elections. The police commissioner Lawal Daura also met with stakeholders ranging from religious and traditional rulers, civil society groups, and party leaders across the state.
It's going to be an interactive session so that we get our mind. Myself being a new person here, I'll be able to understand some gray areas where I will deploy my officers to take care of.
Some of the party representatives who responded on behalf of other stakeholders promised to preach peace to their members. In Birnin Kebbi, Abdul Muhammad Bawa. And
now to Zamfara State, chairmen and youth leaders of political parties have signed an accord reaffirming their commitment to the peaceful conduct of the polls. Jamilu Ibrahim reports.
The signing of the peace accord by the chairman and youth leaders of the 16 political parties participating in the next Saturday governorship and state assembly election in Zamfara State was anchored by the State Commissioner of Police Yusuf Kolo in the presence of heads of some other security agencies. CP Kolo says it is aimed at consolidating the accords earlier signed by the political parties before the last presidential and national assembly election, which he gladly observed was generally respected by the parties involved. He enjoined the political parties, candidates and their supporters to maintain the tempo as no act of lawlessness will be condoned during the forthcoming governorship and state assembly election in the state.
We don't have any other state than Zamfara State for now as your state of origin. So if all of us take it that way, which means we'll do everything possible to make sure that we get the situation right. And to get it right, there must be peace.
Chairman of the political parties and their representatives, as well as the youth leaders present at the event, promised to respect all the terms and provisions of the peace accord. Meanwhile, the security agencies in Zamfara State are strengthening synergy towards providing a peaceful atmosphere for the conduct of the polls across the 14 local government areas of the state. To this end, heads of the security agencies have held a strategic engagement at the police command headquarters Gusau to passion out ways of discharging their duty effectively.
This is a show of force by the security agencies operating in Zamfara State, assuring people of the state that they are combat ready to ensure the peaceful conduct of the next Saturday governorship and state assembly election in all parts of the state. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim.
All right, Cyril, this is so far what we have in preparation for the governorship and state assembly elections in Sokoto, Kebbi, and Zamfara states. When we have the guests in the studio, we'll get back to you for them to tell us the level of preparations for tomorrow's elections.
Thank you so much, Usman Jibrila in Sokoto. Thank you very much. Let's return to Susan Eze in Enugu. Susan, hopefully my sound would be a lot better now, so bring us up to date with what you have now. Eze. Susan, hopefully my sound will be
from all fronts. On the side of INEC, as I speak, there's a training going on at the INEC office where they are training the ad hoc staff that will do their work tomorrow, getting them abreast of the activities that will go on tomorrow. And also yesterday, INEC distributed the election materials to the 17 local government areas in the state. So they are dotting the I's and crossing the T's to make sure that nothing goes wrong tomorrow. Then around town, people are also prepared. The town may be quiet, but activities are going on. The electorate, the political parties, they are all getting ready. And perhaps because the positions that the contestants will be vying for tomorrow are positions that are close to the people. The seat of the governor at the Lion Building and the State Assembly. The contestants are very well known with the people. They have affiliations and the people are interested in coming out to choose who and who gets those positions. We are right here at Bodman or Hafia by 6th Avenue, one of the ancient locations in Enugu. I will have somebody who is an ancient. He is a journalist. All right. Senior one at that. My name Mr. Ijoko, from the perspective of information agents, what do you think tomorrow will look like?
Okay, thank God, finally we're going to have a day we can call today that governorship.
Susan, thank you so much. Unfortunately, still the interference from the sound of vehicles passing by there. Each time any of those tricycles went by and hooted, it completely drowned your voice. And now I see you have a guest, and perhaps we'll return to you if at some point in time you just move slightly away from the highway so that we'll be able to get your sound clearly, and the passing vehicles might not drown out your voice and those of that of your guest. But thank you. We'll find a way and return to you much later. But back here in the studio, we see the show of force. It's a regular exercise in times like this, and sometimes people have raised the question: does the show of force actually achieve anything? Because they would say it's restricted to the urban centers, and perhaps those criminally minded people will say, well, we'll just wait a bit and see if they're displaying the arsenal of what they have, and when they go by, we go to those quiet spots where they're not available and do the things we want to do.
I think the show of force serves its purpose. The main idea behind it is just to tell people that, look, we're in a state of readiness. In terms of required manpower, in terms of mobility, and what have you. Therefore, the show of force does not go alone, it goes along with some other strategies like that of intelligence. So we're aware that maybe the show of force is concentrated in the metro, most especially cities. Areas outside the cities, you find out that maybe you feel as if they are not covered, but as far as we are concerned, they have been effectively covered, because the show of force on the day of reckoning, the day that they are supposed to act, will be acting based on intelligence they receive. Therefore, they move from one location to another, restore law and order, and depend on further information from the intelligence arm as to where they think there are threats or there are actual disruptions of tendencies for disruptions of elections. So I think the show of force is a very, very important instrument in policing within this particular period and has been delivering results consistently.
Well, Nick, let's go back to the nature of the elections, governorship and the State House of Assembly. And so many people have said it's a very important aspect of this, because now you're dealing with the sub-national levels, they're closer to the people. And so the electorate in the states now have a chance to interact directly with those who would affect their lives at the local level, as against far away Abuja, some of them. So you're expecting that there would be a change in some voting patterns which are noticeable in the presidential and the National Assembly election?
Certainly the dynamics will not be the same. We expect, for example, that the major presidential candidates who emerged from the last contest would also want to get some kind of toehold or foothold in their regions. And we also expect that where they had good showing outside their regions, that they would also want to consolidate on those areas. And that explains why the conduct of these elections at the governorship level are going to be very keen. In fact, keener than the presidential election. And in a number of states, we are talking about more than a two-horse race. For example, in Lagos, in Plateau, more than two parties, more than two strong candidates have emerged. Okay. And in addition to having more than three candidates, emerging as contestants, depending also on the nature, the coloration of some of the states, we are expecting that the contestation will reflect the primordial and identity interest in those states. For example,
we'll come back and take that in more detail. Okay. Let's see if we can link up with Haruna Muhammad, who is out and about in Kaduna. Haruna Muhammad, tell us where you are, and just go ahead and let's hear you.
I am currently at Amadou Bello Way here in Kaduna Metropolis, and it is eve to the governorship and state assembly elections here in Kaduna. The various political parties have concluded their campaigns with the hope that their messages have gotten to the nooks and crannies of the state. I mean the electorate and residents of Kaduna, so as to carry out their exercise tomorrow. I have with me a cross-section of panelists, which one of them is the INEC head of voter education, in person of Rukaya, who is going to bring us up to speed with the level of preparedness of the commission here in Kaduna. How has the commission so far gone in preparing for the elections tomorrow?
Alhamdulillah, I think INEC Kaduna has all its operational capabilities in place, ranging from the materials they've been distributed to local government offices, and I was around monitoring from the local government offices. They are being distributed to rack centers, and I think this night, by midnight, they will start distributing these materials to polling units. So early hours of the morning, this our transport officers, the service providers, that's the NATO and NURTW, will convey this our house staff and the materials to their polling units, and everything is going to be fine. And I think we always meet. We are in constant meeting with the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security, and they are assuring us they are going to safeguard property and lives of Kaduna State's people, inshallah.
Talking about the beavers, how prepared is this?
Our beavers is in a wonderful state. We've configured, and they're also distributed. And we have, Kaduna State has 8,012 polling units, and of course we have other spares, just in case any technicalities occur. We have spares to use, inshallah.
Okay. In terms of the last election, there are some grey areas which include arrival of material to some polling units, which is, of course, they arrived late. Have this been addressed?
Yes, this has been addressed. The service providers, that's the NATO and the NURTW, were here. We're at Kaduna. We've been in constant meeting with them, and they have assured us that everything is going to be okay. Like I said earlier on, these materials are in local government offices, and as I'm talking to you now, some of these materials are being conveyed to rack centers. And from rack centers, early hours of the morning, they'll be dispersed to polling units, inshallah.
Okay, that is the head of voter education updating us on the level of preparedness of the commission towards conducting the exercise. But here with me also are some electorate who wants to tell us how prepared they are to cast their ballots tomorrow.
Good evening, sir. My name is Ibrahim Khalil Yakubu.
So how prepared are you to cast your ballots tomorrow? And for example, I want you to tell me what will influence your election? What influenced you to come out for these elections tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm actually very prepared to vote tomorrow. At least I have my PVC ready, which is safe and secure, only to be picked up tomorrow. And then in terms of choosing a candidate, actually, we've seen their track records, we've seen their manifestos, they have come out with plans, they've been doing stakeholders meetings, town hall meetings, so we've heard everybody's part of the story. So we've decided to, okay, this is the person we are leaning towards, and then we're praying to God that at least he should actually guide our choice also, and make sure whoever we choose is the best candidate for the state, and also the House of Assembly.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can you please, also with me in case of Hajia Halima to tell us how prepared she is for the exercise tomorrow. How prepared are you?
I'm actually very prepared. I have my PVC. Unfortunately, I can't show it because I don't have it here. But I'm very prepared. Inshallah, tomorrow we are going out and we will cast our vote for whoever we have decided to vote for.
Those are the two electorates we have here with us who have just told us how prepared they are to exercise their franchise tomorrow. And talking about the security aspect here in Kaduna, the Kaduna State Police, in collaboration with other security agencies, are providing watertight security around the state and have so far deployed over 20,000 personnel to the 23 local governments in the state, comprising of various police units, the NSCDC, as well as other undercover security operatives here in Kaduna. And in line also with the Inspector General of Police, the directive by the Inspector General of Police, there has been a restriction on movement across coming into Kaduna and other parts of the state here, just to ensure that the exercise goes on smoothly here in Kaduna.
Right, Haruna. It's all right. It's obvious from where you are. It's calm and quiet there. But do you have any update on the situation in Zangun Kataf, for instance? Do you have any update on that? And what does it seem like? What do you think is going to happen there tomorrow? If you have, then maybe you should just let us know a bit.
Okay, so far we've reached out to the police, and by and large they have already commenced their investigation, trying to comb out those criminals, and so far that is what we have from them, and peace has been restored to that area so far.
And the elections will go ahead tomorrow as scheduled?
Yes, just like what the INEC head of voter education said, electoral materials have been deployed to all the 23 local governments here in Kaduna, and it's expected that tomorrow the election will take place in all the 8,012 polling units here in Kaduna.
All right, thank you very much, Haruna Mohammed from Kaduna. Hope we can check in with you some other time to get further updates. So, yes, just before we went off to Kaduna, you were enumerating one or two places of interest with regard to the pattern voting activity.
Yes, I was saying that the governorship elections are going to be keenly contested, in fact, even more keenly contested than the presidential election, because in a number of states, you have more than 3 major candidates contesting. Mm-hmm. And let us not also forget that it's the same requirements as enunciated in section 134 of the Constitution that also affects the contest for governorship, in the sense that you must win the highest votes cast and then at least 1/4 of the votes cast in at least 2/3 of the local governments in that state. And when these elections are keenly contested, the likelihood that a candidate might not emerge on the first ballot arises. That does not mean that the election in itself is bad, but the none perhaps of the candidates has been able to meet the requirements. But in addition to that, what we have seen from the conduct of the presidential election is the total demystification of some of the major players on the political landscape. Recall that even the president lost his state to the PDP. Recall that Yobe State went to PDP. Recall that Gombe State went to PDP. Recall that, the APC lost Lagos and Osun states in the southwest. Recall also that the Labour Party did very well in the FCT and and Plateau State in the north central. And we also have a number of governors who lost out in their bids to go to the Senate. And these are governors who are determined to ensure that they are succeeded by proxies, either by persons who are going to carry on with their legacy in quotes, or persons who are going to have their backs. Now, irrespective
I like that, but I was ask you to hold on a while. And let's see if we can get on to Kayode Oladoshu in Ibadan. Yes, we have him. Yes, there you are, Kayode. What part of Ibadan are you, and what's the latest?
I'm at Awolowo Avenue, not far from the Federal Secretariat and the State Secretariat.
So what's the latest?
Ibadan is cool and calm at the moment. Yesterday, the state governor declared half working day for civil servants in the state to observe, to prepare themselves against the governorship and the state houses of assembly that will come up tomorrow. The race is up now for who to occupy the state governor's office for the next 4 years. And at the moment, despite the fracas that happened yesterday in some parts of the metropolis, Ibadan is cool as usual, is calm as usual. Also yesterday, the AIG in charge of Zone 11 had the meeting with all the formations of various service chiefs and head of security agencies within the state in order for them to build the security architecture of the state towards the Saturday election. But at the moment, there is no fracas, there is no distortion. Everywhere is cool, everywhere is calm. And then the residents, they are ready with our visit to various locations within the metropolis. They are ready to exercise their duty to elect another governor and state assembly contestant tomorrow.
All right, thank you so much for that update, and we'll check in with you much later and see what's going on. All right, thank you so much, Kayode Oladoshu in Ibadan. Thank you.
All right, Cyril. All right, thank you.
Okay, so people will strive to change what happened on the 25th, but maybe we should, at this point, go over to Kano and again speak with Dr. Zakariyau. Dr. Zakariyau, you're still with us? Right. Maybe we should, at this point, go over to Kano and again speak with Dr. Well, you probably heard Nick Dazang here talking about how some places, the big political wigs there would strive to either maintain the gains during the presidential election or to swing it over and be more relevant. Do you buy into that? All right. Okay? Okay.
Extent, like what he has said, is going to be a kind of situation whereby some of the presidential aspirants trying to maintain, the momentum they gather during the last presidential elections. But in this case, there will be a lot of, difference in the sense that the gubernatorial election is more or less an electoral system whereby it's like two local players playing football, and they all understand themselves, they all understand their various track records, and they have been together right from, very long period. So it's going to be a kind of different ball game compared to what we actually experienced during the presidential election, in the sense that all the contestants, particularly for governorship seats, they have always been on ground. And in the other way, some of them might be former chairman of a local government, some might be former House of Assembly members, some even House of Representatives. So there have been a kind of situation whereby it might not be about the movement we experienced during the presidential election, particularly from the Labour Party, the obedient movement, which was highly formidable to the extent of penetrating to some part of North Central and Northeast. But in this case, the party itself, Labour Party, might not be able to perform wonderfully in North Central and Northeast because of the fact that the party was not having a structure on ground before the presidential elections. But the candidature of Obi actually made some, what we call permutation to change, or it was a kind of movement that changed a lot of scenario within the political contest, meaning that political structures that political parties they have always been relying on did not work. But in governorship elections, there is every tendency that the political structure will work because the local politicians, they have to work, mobilize electorate across localities, across wards, and across polling units. So that tells you that in governorship election is a kind of local contest. And within the local contest, people don't bother much about the issue of, it's coming from my region in terms of we are from the same ethnic group or we are from the same religion. No, those might not be the major, factors. What we might actually see will be based on what some of those key players, the politicians, what they have been able to do within their locality. So what you have done within your local community is going to speak for you as far as this coming election is concerned. But before I go back to you, sir, there's something we need to clarify here that we need to actually look into. When you look at some of the reports you have gathered so far, it has always been about the readiness of the police, of the security apparatus, and that gives me concern as a political scientist. Why is it that whenever we are going for election, we prepare for election as if we are going for war? That tells you that most of our electorates are not democrat enough. In a democratic system whereby people are conscious politically, people know their role, people understand the fact that they are part of the system that will make democracy to grow. We don't need to be monitoring them with serious policing. Of course, policing is necessary, but it should not be as if you are going for war, as if there will be crisis. There was a report from Sokoto. I got scared that, the military, the police, they were combatant ready. Are we going for war? No, this is an election. This is a kind of civic responsibility that people should come peacefully, express their self, go back, get the result, and have belief. But why we're having this kind of security report, or why we're having a kind of dimension where people are talking about securing the vote, is on the basis of the fact that there is what we call political cynicism. People have actually lost trust between the government itself and the populace. Once there is a trust deficit, that is why we are preparing for elections as if we are going to war. I've listened to the AIG. He has been speaking much about the readiness of the police in combating whatever level of criminalities, in ensuring that the elections is going to be conducted without anybody being harassed. But the fact remains that we should be talking about a level where people go to the polling unit without even seeing any security man, noticing any security personnel around. People should be able to vote peacefully. And that is why we need to work on the mindset of our people, and we also need to work on our political culture. In advanced democracy, where people are well informed, we don't need to be talking about deploying 3,000, 4,000, AIG, DIG, monitoring just for governorship election. This is not a war. This is an electoral process that needs to be more democratized.
Yeah, it's a point you have made which we are going to return to. Certainly, we'll definitely return to that. Speaking about preparing for elections as if we're going to war, because we're going to tie in the bit about guarding electoral materials with tanks and armored vehicles and so many security personnel, but it all starts there. But at this point, let's join Caleb Gucci, who is in Jos, Plateau State. Caleb.
Yes. Yes, Cyril, I can hear you loud and clear. We're here at the headquarters of INEC in Plateau State, and the resident electoral commissioner is with us. So we're back to the commission 3 weeks after the presidential election. So tomorrow is the elections, and the REC is here to tell us how prepared they are for the polls tomorrow in Plateau State. Yes, Dr. Terso Agundu, thank you very much for being with us, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, so could you just tell us how prepared are you for the polls tomorrow for governorship and House of Assembly polls?
Yeah, let me say that here in Plateau State we are fully prepared in terms of logistical arrangement. I can say confidently that we are good to go. We have deployed all our materials to the field, to all the local government since Wednesday, including even sensitive materials. And as of this morning, all materials have been deployed to the various racks, and we are hoping that early tomorrow morning, even before 6, there will be commencement of deployment to various polling units, so that polls will commence on time. As we speak, we have also, in terms of personnel, we have carried out refresher training for our ALHOC staff, all categories of our ALHOC staff. We have done for the RATEX and local government techs. We have also carried out refresher training for our SPOs and collection and returning officers. And this evening, across the 17 local government, there's going to be a refresher training for POs and SPOs who have arrived at the various racks that were activated early this morning. So as in terms of personnel and in terms of material preparedness, I can tell you confidently that here in Plateau State we are good to go.
All right, Rex, we always have this challenge of some particular words turning in the results very, very late. Have you taken...
Yeah, we since my assumption of duty here, almost all the stakeholders engagement we had, people raised concern in that regard, and we have paid special attention to some of these local government, and even this morning I had a meeting with few of them, and are giving strict instruction, and to including even the collection and returning officers that were posted, and who some have moved this evening, some we believe into their various collection points tomorrow. And the instruction is that on no account should result that have been collected, computed, should be delayed, or for no justifiable reason. We have equally informed all security heads and all security agencies. I think they are fully briefed that we are not going to take chance with anybody who want to compromise the process or delay the process. We feel that collection at the polling unit should commence immediately after voting, and if that is done and the endorsement is secured from the presiding officers and all the agents of political parties, the movement should be activated immediately to arrays, and then from there to local government. And we want to ensure that the process is not delayed at any point, so that we will have this thing done and concluded in good time, so that we will know that we are done with this too.
Cyril, if you can hear me, the Commissioner of Police in Plateau State this morning also briefed newsmen on the preparedness of the security. They have deployed over so many police people personnel now to man the polls to keep security in check. So tell us, finally, how do we expect to get the feedback?
Yeah, I think I just want to assure the people of Plateau State that some of the little shortcomings that were noticed in the last presidential election, we have remedied them. We have worked very robustly in trying to put in place an electoral management structure that will ensure that we deliver to the good people of Plateau State a very transparent, credible, hitch-free and inclusive election.
Okay, let me ask Mr. Cyril if there's any question for the REC so that I don't take all the time. Any from your end?
Well, no, Caleb. Yes, Caleb, so far you've addressed a number of the issues which would ordinarily bother people about how ready INEC is, and you've also addressed the question of so many parts of the deployment of materials. And what many people would be wanting to know or get would be assurances that the question of late arrival of officials would be almost totally eliminated, and that everyone would go at the appropriate time and then have access to cast their ballot. So those are the assurances most people would be looking out for, apart from being in a secure and safe environment, that the officials would be on time, because we keep hearing this over and over again, late arrival of materials.
Oh, okay. Talking about late arrival of materials and all these things.
It is one of the issues.
Everybody will have access to all the materials.
As we speak here in Plateau State, we have the right quality and quantity of materials, and we have insisted that these materials should be deployed at the right time, at the right places, so that polling will commence at the scheduled time, and with intent across the state, no police unit will delay opening after 8:30. That is the time, and all our EOs have been instructed in that regard, and all our ad hoc staff have been given such an order, and we believe that we have also put in place other structures that will ensure that they comply with that. In fact, I have deployed almost all our heads of department and some critical staff, senior staff of the commission here at the headquarters to support the various local government to ensure that we commence our poll at the right time, and so that we will not be having people to vote in the late hours. And so basically I want to assure everyone that here in Plateau State we have put in place everything that will ensure that we conduct not just a credible and transparent election, but election that will also be timely, commencement will be timely, and even collection will also be timely, so that we will not be keeping people in suspense. We expect that people should get the results of their voting, and we want to assure them that for the people of Plateau State, they will find expression of their wishes when we announce the result. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Cyril. That is it from Jos. Just to let you know that the people are ready and they have moved. Those in rural areas have gone to their places already. They are keen to exercise their franchise. Thank you very much for staying with us in Jos.
Thank you so much, Caleb. By the way, good to see you again. It's been a while. Thank you. Right. Okay. Right, Nick, just before we went to Jos, Dr. Zakaria raised the big question.
Yes.
And we've always asked this question.
If you observed, I was amused.
War.
To say the least, I was amused by what he was saying. If I didn't know him, I would have accused him of suffering from ivory toweritis. Yes, because this is a disease that academics are afflicted with. They don't seem to be on the ground. They pontificate from their ivory towers. If he was facing reality, even in the Kano where he resides, and he has commented profusely on. This is the same Kano where certain individuals threatened violence, and the police had to arrest them in lieu of the violence they would have loved to perpetrate tomorrow. Now, apart from Kano State, we have had incidents in Oyo State where, PDP officials were attacked by APC thugs yesterday. By the same token, we have also received threats issued by one MC.
Allegedly attacked by APC thugs.
Yeah, some thugs allegedly, right? Yes, and then there's this one MC Olumo who was also allegedly and reportedly said to have threatened non-Yoruba voters.
But the question is, should it be this way?
I'm coming to that. Now, from what we have seen in the conduct of elections, in fact, since 2007, which is one of the elections that the Commission conducted in which there was a lot of violence, the Commission itself had to resort to, it was not as if the security agencies had not been securing the environment for the conduct of the elections, but it had to now revisit this deployment and to work with the security agencies in such a fashion as, first of all, to identify risk areas that are prone to violence, and to get the security agencies to deploy in such a manner as to stem whatever violence that would have resulted, and the civil society also joined the Commission and the security agencies in identifying risk areas and sharing intelligence with the Commission and the security agencies. And we have seen too that there is a correlation between this massive deployment and show of force and the confidence that these actions give to voters in turning out in large numbers to cast their votes. We saw it after the conduct of Anambra elections in 2010, where less than 20% of the voters, turn out to vote. In fact, in the history of Anambra State, no election has passed the 25% threshold.
Okay.
Now, after that, and after the violence that took place in Ekiti State, in 2013, there was massive deployment of security agencies, as a result of which INEC now scored the highest turnout of voters in any off-cycle or off-season governorship election in the history of this country. So there is a correlation between massive deployment and voter turnout. And that is why some of us are amused from his side. And I'm sure from his side.
Okay, we'll revisit that. Yes, that's what's on ground, but the question still would be, why should it remain so? But we'll revisit that in just a moment.
Okay.
For now, let's
return to the seat of caliphate. Yes, right there on location is El-Hatu Abdullahi, who is in Sokoto. What part of Sokoto are you in here, if you can hear us now?
Hello, Cyril. Good evening. I am along Dogondaji House in the ancient city of Sokoto. This is road to Gawanama area. In fact, all these vehicular movements will be halted in a few hours to come, as the eligible voters in Sokoto will join their counterparts across the country to go to polls to elect governor and state assembly members to serve the state for the next 4 years. With me is Isa Abubakar Shuni, a civil servant with the state government. Isa Abubakar, how prepared are you for tomorrow's voting exercise?
Well, thank you very much, my chairman. Obviously, I'm very much prepared for the election, which is expected to be conducted tomorrow morning, Saturday, for gubernatorial and state house assembly elections. We are duly prepared. As you can see, we are just from market. We have prepared, we have purchased everything that is in terms of foodstuffs and other preparation, because as we learn, tomorrow there is some kind of restriction for movement from one place to another. So we are almost ready for the election. Definitely, we are only waiting for the time. Tomorrow, God willing, we'll be out to cast our vote for the choices we have made earlier so far.
Well, looking at the preparations so far, in terms of security and preparations by the INEC, how can you describe the expected outcome of the voting exercise tomorrow when you compare it to the recently conducted presidential and National Assembly elections in Sokoto State?
Definitely, going by the report we had and the press releases we have seen from the security agencies, we can say that the security agencies we are expecting to have a kind of improvement in terms of security architecture, especially when you compare it with the last 2 or 3 weeks presidential election. Because the previous one, obviously, there was a little bit problem there and then in the polling unit, especially in terms of security agency. The presence of security agency are very minimal in those days. But now, the Commissioner of Police, all other security agencies concerned about this election have confirmed to us that they are fully prepared for election. And from what we can see, the surveillance is going on in the town. All the major roads, all the major communities, all the major areas. If you can see the type of movement by the security agencies going, all the nooks and crannies, signifying that they are fully prepared for tomorrow's election, definitely.
Well, thank you, Isa Abubakar Shuni. Al-Kanchi is a retired civil servant, in fact, retired journalist. How prepared are you for tomorrow's voting exercise?
Well, I'm well prepared for tomorrow's gubernatorial and the state assembly elections. I'm very, very much ready to go and elect a credible candidate of my choice as a governor, as my governor, and as my representative in the State House Assembly.
Well, last elections, that is the recently conducted presidential election, and some polling units across the state experienced late arrival of INEC officials and the election materials. What do you expect in tomorrow's voting exercise as per preparation by the INEC?
Well, for all indication, the preparation made by INEC this election for tomorrow's election will be better than the one of 2 weeks ago. Just like 2 weeks ago, the materials came very late, but this time, from the report we are receiving and what we are hearing, the INEC is well prepared. The election is going to start as early as possible, and the voters are very, very much ready. Some will even sleep in the voting in the polling unit just for the election. So I'm very much assured that the election tomorrow will be very, 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 very much.
Do you expect a turnout, massive turnout of voters?
Very, very much. I expect a large turnout of voters tomorrow, because people are very, very anxious to come out and vote for their candidate, for the candidate of their choice, please.
Well, thank you, Al-Kanchi. That is the situation here in Sokoto. Back to you.
Right. Thank you very much, Al-Hatu Abdullahi in Sokoto. And straight away, we'll just go over to the coal city, Enugu, and link up with Mina Ukaubasi, who's right there. Yes, yes, there you are, Mina. Good to see you. What can you tell us from the coal city?
Well, as a matter of fact, campaigns have come to an end as we approach the business end of the governorship and state assembly election. Focus now, like you have seen, shifts to the preparedness of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The reports from the February 25th presidential election is still the topic of discussion till date, even as you can see right there, in your discussion studios over there. Thanks for joining us right here at the 2023 Verdict Studios in Enugu. Well, talking about, INEC will have a report right here about how prepared they are in Enugu. INEC has reassured the electorate that the challenges faced during the presidential elections have been addressed. Comfort IM reports that the resident electoral commissioner gave the assurance at the stakeholders training session right here in Enugu. Let's see that report.
Late start of the voting process. Over time, many have attributed to late arrival of electoral materials this situation will change for good, hopefully, a promise given by the resident electorate.
I'm afraid, Mina, we'll have to try and return to you at some point in time. Looks like you're experiencing some challenges there, but we'll get back to you somehow. Well, yes, Dick, we raised that issue, and we'll come to EIG Chiroba right away on that. Yes, it's the situation on ground. And of course, everyone would expect that security agencies will rise to challenges that have been identified. Not so.
Exactly. Deployments are not just done like that. Deployments are done in a well-informed manner. You have to analyze the situation before you do your deployment. The less policemen we have or security agents we have to deploy, the better for us. But our own peculiarities requires that you do massive deployment so that you end up having a free and fair election. There is need for you to provide adequate security. You have to provide security for men and materials. You have to ensure that you provide security for the general public that are coming to vote. Therefore, you can't avoid, considering our own peculiarities, you can't avoid deploying as much as you can for now to achieve that.
Well, you would rather the situation were different, that we were in that kind of society where you didn't have to worry so much. You would be there all the same.
I'm so comfortable. I'm so happy that the doctor has said it.
Right.
In those advanced societies, we hope we get there one of these days.
All right, but how soon is the question, right?
Very soon.
Okay. But at this point, let's link up with Susan in Asaba. Susan is right. Just tell us where you are. Let's not speculate where you are. You're in Asaba, all right, but what part of Asaba and what's happening?
Okay, so can you be a bit audible, please, so I can hear you clearly?
Right, you're joining us from Asaba. That's quite clear, but just let us know where you are in Asaba and give us the latest.
Okay, I'm right here at the Center for Transparency and Advocacy Election Day Situation Room. Earlier today, this situation room was set up for ahead of the elections tomorrow, and a lot has been happening here in Asaba, the Delta State capital. Right now, as we speak, it is raining outside. For me, it is an indication that we are going to have a clement weather for the elections tomorrow. In terms of security, yesterday the DIG South was here in the state capital to rub minds and, of course, prepare the security men, the policemen and officers ahead of the elections. And the DIG said about 12,000 policemen and officers have already been deployed for the governorship elections in Asaba. And again, still on security, the CP election in Asaba Delta State had an interaction with the REC, the Resident Electoral Commissioner here in Asaba. And all of that is in preparations for what is expected of everyone, the electorate and the INEC officials here in Asaba. And then in terms of, on the part of INEC, it has been a very busy week for them. They started the week with distribution of materials to different local government areas here in the state. And earlier today, the CP election in Asaba also had an interactive session with the Resident Electoral Commissioner, Mr. Monday Tom, in Asaba Delta State. Like I said earlier, the election situation room has been set up by the Center for Transparency and Advocacy. And I have with me the Executive Director of the center, who is here to tell us what she is expecting from Deltans tomorrow, and of course what she's expecting from the electorate. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Good evening. We're expecting a peaceful election, especially that we have just had the rains here in Delta. We are expecting that tomorrow Deltans will come out in their numbers to elect their governors and also make a choice from the 322 State House of Assembly candidates that will come across the 25 local government areas. I want to say that so far it's been peaceful. People are going about their duties, and Deltans are very enthusiastic that they will be given the opportunity to elect their leaders tomorrow.
Madam, can you also tell them the number of observers you've deployed across the local government areas?
Okay, across the local government areas, we have 75 observers in each of the, across Delta State, across the 25 local government areas here that we have. We expect that apart from that, we're setting up our national situation room here in Delta State. So in this place, we'll be getting reports from across the country, across the 28 states where governorship elections will be happening, and across the other states, apart from the FCT where election will not happen this weekend. So we'll be collating reports and results from the field in this place tomorrow.
Yes, I was at your press briefing earlier today, and you said during the National Assembly and Presidential and National Assembly election, your center was in Abuja, situated in Abuja. Why have you decided to bring it to Abuja?
So, like they said, politics is local, and this is one of the examples of the local elections that we're going to have. The governorship and House of Assembly elections are very important, close to the people. This is when you talk about dividends of democracy. We expect it from the governors and the members of the House of Assembly, who will make laws to help these dividends come. So we have moved our situation room from Abuja because no election is going to happen in Abuja. Delta State is one of the states where you're going to have a state governorship election, and 322 people are running for the House of Assembly position. So Delta State is a strategic state. It's the heart of the Niger Delta, and we want to be close to where elections are happening so that we can have a first-hand information around what is happening, as well as get information from others. So Delta State is quite significant in the discussions around one. If you look at the natural resources, the importance of Delta State in the contribution to the economic wealth of the country, and the fact that it's an important election that we are having, we've decided to situate our election day situation room here in Asaba, Delta State.
All right, thank you very much, ma'am. And yes, Mr. Ibrahim, we also have a public analyst. I don't know if you want to hear him, who is also here to, tell us what should be expected tomorrow. He is Mr. Igere Enite. Mr. Igere Enite, you are on. So can you tell us what would be expected of us tomorrow?
Okay, tomorrow, which happens to be the election for the governorship and members of House of Assembly in Delta State, is going to be a very, very important day in Delta State, in the sense that this election happens to be the most interesting election in Delta State's history. If you follow the campaigns, you'll find that these campaigns have been so intense up to the closing of campaigns, because for once, most Deltans really want to participate in the elections. We don't want a situation where results are just called. This is an opportunity where INEC, can redeem itself in Delta State, because Deltans for a long time, they really have been yearning to really show their, the power, the strength in their votes. And these elections, Deltans really want to participate.
All right, thank you. Okay, and that's what we have here. I don't know if you have any more questions for us here in Delta State.
No, thank you so much for the updates. I will return to you sometime, hopefully, to get further updates. But good enough. You've availed us of what's on ground at the moment. And the story has been almost the same all across the country. People ready. Yes, thank you, Susan. People ready. The electoral management body, INEC, ready. Security agencies ready. Voters ready. We hear that all the time. And so perhaps attention should shift to who, as they say, the political gladiators are. It's going to be a tough race in many states. Dr. Zakariau, if you can hear us at this point, I really wish you could hear us. Right. The contest is going to be keen in many parts of the country. There are some states where some people say the sitting governors have all but fallen out of favor with the people. And so even if they are not on the ballot at this time, their anointed candidates may not make it because the transferred aggression would reflect in the ballot. Do you see this as what could play out tomorrow? Would reflect in the ballot. Do you see?
Thank you very much. That's a very good question. But let me simplify it in this way. In electoral democracy, particularly if democracy is at work, the power of incumbency seems to be reducing. And when you look at 2015 general elections and 2019 up to date, you are going to see it from the angle that power of incumbency might not actually matter, though it has its own weight, but people are becoming more conscious. People are getting ready to vote whosoever that is in power that fail to actually ensure dividends of democracy get to the populace. Even if you have completed your 8 years as a governor and you are trying to bring somebody on board like your favorite candidate, people these days, particularly the electorate, might not actually care. What they want to look, it has to do with the track record of the personality you are bringing on board. It has to do with the performance of the incumbency itself. So the power of incumbent is becoming, unnecessarily relevant, and that is why democracy is at work. And I can tell you that that's one of the beauty of electoral democracy. Be that as it may, when I raised the point of we prepare for elections as if we are going to war, my brother over there was trying to, accuse me from the academic setting. And I could recall we were in studio in Abuja. He also raised similar points about professors not coming up with a very good statistics. Let me tell you this. There's what we call group theory. And in group theory, it has to do with various units coming together, ensuring that result is achieved. No one can ever say that if INEC is to prepare for election, we don't need police, we don't need other security agencies. No. They are also needed to play what we call collaborative role, because it is a group theory whereby all different sectors, they have to come on board and ensure that there is survival of the system. But my argument was based on the fact that based on various research we have done, as an expert on electoral studies, we've realized a series of elections in Nigeria has always been or it has always been done as if we are preparing for warfare. Like electoral politics is now becoming a kind of warfare. That for how long do we continue in that direction? And that was why I made it known that there is need for us to concentrate energy on the electorate by changing their mindset. There is need for us to ensure that political orientation is a kind of all-inclusive. Once the orientation of the people become changed, there's every tendency that this militarization of electoral system, this high level of policing that we have been talking about, can actually reduce. In fact, when you talk of policing, the civilian, the individuals that are going to the various polling units, they can as well police their votes by ensuring that they monitor, they look at what is happening on board, and ensure that the system is well delivered. Be that as it may, it is not about the number of deployment of police officers or military to the electoral setting that matters. What made our election to have become improved these days, it has to do with the introduction of technology. In fact, when you have an effective technological innovations in electoral system, it's going to reduce policing, it's going to reduce unnecessary militarization, it's going to reduce unnecessary chaos. Why the clamor for, INEC disappointed us, we did not get it the way we wanted, was because of the fact that people were expecting results to be transmitted. But because of some, hindrances, that could not happen. So in the long run, electoral system is becoming more improved. People are having confidence to come and vote once we are now introducing technology. When Jega introduced smart card reader in 2011, in 2015, that was what actually necessitated the large turnout. Not about having policemen on ground, not about having the military on ground. No. In fact, in electoral studies, the more you make your elections to look like warfare, the worse scenario, because people will be getting more scared. They don't want to even move closer. At various home level, the family that happens to be the first agent of political socialization, they keep telling their kids, can't you see the military patrol over there? Can't you see the police going up and down? Please, I don't want you to go out. I'm not ready to lose you. That will result to what we call political apathy. So the deployment of police, deployment of military or security apparatus will not in any way enhance political participation. In fact, it's going to lead to political apathy as a sort of fear, as a sort of tension. But once we can keep improving on our technology, like what we have seen, Beavers has performed wonder. If we can have some other technological innovations that will make our elections to be more robust, it is a welcome idea. But to me, we should not be preparing for elections as if we are going for war.
What about changing the mindset of the electorate, the people?
Sir?
What about political education in terms of changing the mindset of the people to begin to act in a proper manner, not to snatch ballot boxes, not to disrupt the process, where they find a leeway and say, look, if I disrupt the process, it means both my opponents and I lose. And that's better than allowing the other person win. How about political education for the people and the electorate?
Of course, that's very interesting. You know, I was making reference to what we call group theory. Don't forget that one of the cardinal functions of political party itself is to ensure that there is effective political education, there is effective political orientation. Most of those hoodlums that we have been seeing being used, to disrupt the electoral process, they happen to be supporters of Party A or Party B. That tells you that the political party as a unit, as a relevant stakeholder in electoral politics or in the electoral process, has failed to actually exercise its own mandate. Once people are not sufficiently educated on the basis of the fact that the mindset should be shifted towards ensuring that you exercise your right by doing it in a civic, not you terrorizing the voters or your colleagues. But because of the fact that some of those hoodlums, some of those boys that have actually contributed to what we call political thuggery in the society, they belong to Party A or Party B. So that is why the political parties need to also change its dimension. That's why people, some of us from the academic point of view, we feel that largely political parties in Nigeria still fail to have what we call effective ideology. If a party is known for this ideology, like APC claims to be progressive, how progressive are some of the APC members? And I also made it known that we are in a democratic system whereby larger voters are not Democrats. If as a citizen, I'm a voter, I'm an electorate, I am Democrat, I know the implication of disrupting electoral exercise or electoral process. But because of some of our people feel, no, they have given me the mandate to go and do this, I can disrupt, I can subvert the will of the people. That means the particular person leading such unnecessary or quote unquote virus is not Democrat enough. But if the citizens are Democrat, if political parties and other relevant stakeholders play their role as it's expected from the electoral law, I think we'll be having elections that will be smooth. But if we continue in a direction of preparing for elections as if we are going to war, then that boils down to the fact that our democracy is more of authoritarian. And when we talk of authoritarian democracy, it has to do with a democracy whereby people go and vote with fear that, with the mindset that if I should go, what is the possibility I'm going to come back safely? Why do we need to be having unnecessary fear just because we want to exercise our right? So the political party generally has failed in ensuring that political education, which is their cardinal responsibility, some of them don't bother. What they do is to mobilize talks, to mobilize individuals on ensuring that they must get into power by crook whatever means. Political parties are set up. Of course, they want to govern, but it is not a must that political parties hijack power. That is my point.
All right. Thank you very much. And, well, AIG Chidoma says we'll get there soon enough. But back to the contest that will be seen in 28 states for the governorship and the State Houses of Assembly tomorrow. The assemblies in the state are equally important in this, because if we talk about constitutional amendments, they have a key role to play. For a long time, most people didn't pay much attention to the assemblies, and it was believed that governors installed those they wanted to and removed them at will, as long as they played or did not play to their tune. So this time around, awareness has increased, and people are beginning to know that even when you need to change aspects of the Constitution, you need the state assemblies. So you need men and women who can perform the functions which the assembly is supposed to play in the scheme of things. Nick.
Yes, I think that part of the major challenge we have is lack of education about the process and even the presidential system. In the presidential system, the three arms of government, the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature are co-equals. And that explains the kind of power that Nancy Pelosi, wielded when she was Speaker of the House of Representatives. Now, our people don't tend to understand or to realize that in these assemblies, are supposed to reside powers that are equal to that of the executive. And even the elected members themselves don't seem to appear to appreciate the kind of power that they wield. And that is why, in most cases, they surrender themselves to the whims and caprices of the executive. Well, they also forget that for you to change any part of the Constitution, no matter how minuscule, you must get the buy-in of the various state houses of assembly. Let me give you an instance. People have complained severally about the state independent electoral commissions, particularly when they saw the kind of reforms that INEC at the national level was able to bring to itself and the process. And because most of the elections they conduct tend to reflect the wishes of the various governors. The opposition parties hardly win elections conducted by the state independent electoral commissions.
Okay,
and
so
as a result,
and little reforms are going on in there.
Yes.
Well, just as we speak of the matter of the importance of state assemblies,
yes.
This just in, which of course also underscores the importance of the state legislature. We have this just in now. President Buhari has signed 16 constitution alteration bills and 3 others into law. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, Senate, Babajide Omawurare, noted that constitution amendment bills include the one on financial independence of state houses of assembly and the state judiciary. Other bills assented to by the President are those on the removal of the railway, prison, and electricity from the exclusive legislative list to the concurrent list. The President also assented to the bill that mandates the President and governors to submit names of persons nominated as ministers or commissioners for confirmation to the Senate and state assemblies within 60 days of taking oath of office. So these bills, constitutional alteration bills, which the President has signed into law, and we just highlighted them now a few moments ago. Particularly the ones that deal with the legislature would be the one on financial independence of state houses of assembly and the state judiciary. Well, we're talking about how important the state assemblies are, and this statement just came in a moment ago from the Senior Special Assistant to the President, National Assembly Matters, Senate, Babajide Omawurare. And so these are matters of amending the Constitution, and as you just mentioned now, people ought to realize that you cannot get through with these unless you have the input of the state assemblies, which makes them a key part of the
Yes, but you see, like what I was trying to observe is that they don't even tend to know the kind of power they ought to wield, and the fact that they ought to serve as checks and balances. You know, the the legislature also does oversight on the executive. And even though some of the laws or processes have not percolated, they have not gone cascaded to the states and the local governments. Procurement, for example, is supposed to take place even at the state level. And the state assemblies are supposed to do oversight on the state-owned ministries, departments, and agencies in the same fashion that the National Assembly does on MDAs. So these are things that we need to emphasize, to educate our people about, so that they know how important it is to vote for the right persons who will go to these places and execute the mandate given to them as representatives of the people, and not as proxies or errand boys of the executive. So we need, that is why tomorrow's election is very crucial. People need to know that you need to vote the right kinds of people that will represent you, and also speak to the issues that concern you at that level. It's not enough to vote for credible, persons as governor. You need also to vote members of the state houses of assembly, that will put the governor on his toes and demand that certain things are done by the right, as it is by the right of the people that they represent. If you look at the caliber of representation we had in the first, second republics, they are not at par with what obtains now. And in fact, in the when this dispensation started in 1999, you could see the speakers coming together, articulating certain positions. But all of a sudden, you hardly hear of this association. In fact, as at 1999, we had an association of local government chairpersons, and they had a secretariat here in Maitama. Now you don't hear of that secretariat. And you don't hear about the joint action board, where the state, the executive, and the local government chairman are supposed to sit and then decide on what accrues to state by virtue of what is allocated to the state through the mobilization and revenue fund. So these are issues that one would have expected would have preceded the elections. I mean, this kind of robust discussion. But a lot of voter education, a lot of publicity needs to take place around this, not necessarily by ANEC, but by the media, by civil society, and by the politicians themselves.
Right. That leads us to the next point, where we've spoken about what the electorate need to do. And here's hoping that the politicians, the gladiators who are going to be jostling for these positions that are up tomorrow would abide and play by the rules. But once again, we need to still interrogate the matter of ensuring a safe and secure environment, particularly in troubled areas in the country. Yes, the agencies did their best, and across board there have been commendations for the security agencies. But one thing remains, that it can still do better.
I agree with you totally, but that is why we, as a matter of strategy, we've decided to engage all stakeholders, which is very important. Everyone should know that he has a role to play for a successful for a successful election. Therefore, the persons voting should know what their roles are. The political parties should know what the roles are expected of them to play. And just as my friend Doctor said, the group, this thing is very important for all to know their roles, so that we perform the different roles expected of us for a smooth process.
Right. Okay, well, Benin is where we head to next, and we have Obehi, who's ready to fill us in on the latest from Benin. Obehi, yes, there you are. Okay, so Obehi, tell us where you are and what's the latest from Benin.
in Benin is that everybody is preparing for tomorrow to go to the polls to vote for candidates of their choice into this complex where I'm currently standing in front of the Edo State House of Assembly. Here, this is where many of the candidates will be vying for the 24 seats that are available here to represent their constituencies here in Edo State. The environment is peaceful currently, and everybody is going about their businesses preparing for the much awaited State of Assembly election. For residents of Edo State, however, this election is very, very important. It's high profile. And one of the reasons is this very important reason that for the past 4 years, Edo State House of Assembly has had only 10 lawmakers representing constituencies here. 14 seats have been declared vacant, and it all started in 17th of June 2019 when 12 lawmakers elect were inaugurated, leaving out the remaining numbers. And after a while, the then Speaker declared their seats vacant. And since then, going to 4 years now, those seats, the 14 seats, have been declared vacant. And those communities, hundreds of communities, have not had representatives here. And of course, that is why this election tomorrow is very important, as it will have an opportunity to give voters the opportunity to, especially those communities that have not had representatives here, the opportunity to elect people that will speak for them here, and of course pass bills that will affect them. I have here with me a lawyer and a public affairs analyst to tell us his view, his impact. So why do you think tomorrow is very important for Edo residents?
I think the politics in the last few years have been really high voltage politics, which left out some legislators from participating, representing their constituencies. That is the major thing at stake tomorrow. And that is why tomorrow's election is going to be of utmost importance to everybody, because those constituencies that have not been represented for a long time, they will seek to also assert, their rights to be represented. And we are looking forward to a very peaceful election. And this election is very important for everybody, because the men in Antoninauro complex here, that is our State House of Assembly, will be making laws that affect our day-to-day living. Our school, education, our markets, business, taxis, hospitals, even our places of worship. That is why everybody should actually come out and take part in this election and make sure that we vote, and we vote very peacefully and massively. Because the last election was good. The turnout was very, very impressive. And we look forward to even a more impressive one, because it's usually said that our politics is local. And this one, we really need to come out massively, defeat the deep state, retire their actors, and then jam their networks. Because we need to do this and make sure that the people who will work for us, speak for us, represent us profitably are the ones that are elected to come to this house behind us where we are talking.
Thank you very much, sir. And of course, we have heard that the police have assured Edo residents that they have enough security personnel to man the various polling units to ensure that all goes well and there's peace tomorrow. And that's it for now from Benin. We hope to go to the fields tomorrow and bring more reports to you as they unfold.
Thank you very much, Obehi from Benin. Interesting conversations from Benin, interesting situation from Edo State. Well, thank you. We wish we could go on with this conversation and explore the peculiar situation of Edo State with 10 lawmakers for almost 4 years now, when they should have 24. But we have to make room for news on NTA International, which will be in a few minutes from now. So right now, let's thank our guests who are in the studio with us here. Dr. Zakaria, who joined us from our Kano studio, would like to say thank you to you. And if we could just see him briefly on screen there, Dr. Zakaria in Kano. Well, yes, there you are. Thank you very much for joining this conversation. And back here in the Abuja studios, Nick Dazang, always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And to AIG Bala Chiroma.
Thank you for having me.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we'll take a short break from the NTA Verdict 2023 studios to make way for the news on NTA International at 7 o'clock. But not to worry, Verdict 2023 will be back at 7:30, and at that time you'll have sitting in Ruth Aguele. I'm Cyril Stober. Bye for now.